What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gooner channel. And do you know what? Going into this transfer window and going into the Euros, I was determined to do a transfer update, to get on board and give you the breaking stories as they happen. But you know what? I've got no energy for it. I don't want to come on here every day talking about Richard Cauliflower, Ricciardo Calafiori, whoever. Right? I'm sure he is the next Paolo Maldini. I'm sure he is going to be a great player. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him. I only know him from the Euros. I don't, believe it or not, watch Serie A. I don't know anything about Bologna. I watched Bologna a little bit to see how good Joshua Zirkzee was. And I found that when I watched him for 90 minutes, he was all right. I think he's got loads of prospects. I'm sick of being linked with Adrien Rabiot. Aren't we all? Aren't we all sick of being linked with Adrien Rabiot? Every bloody season, now he's a free transfer. Oh, let's get Adrien Rabiot. Don't want him. Didn't want to come to Arsenal. Don't want him. Ditto, let's stop talking about Zubimendi. If Zubimendi had the slightest interest in playing for Arsenal, he'd be an Arsenal player right now. Right? We need players who want to play at Arsenal. And on that subject, having stayed up till 3:30, well, not stayed up, I actually set an alarm and woke up to watch the Pretendly played in front of 13,000 people, us playing Bournemouth in the United States. And it was a good opportunity to see some young players playing. Yeah, fantastic. Really, really good to see. I thought there was some absolutely brilliant performances. Salah Ad-Din, Aiden Heaven. I thought really liked what I saw from Miles Lewis-Skelly as that kind of inverted left back. You know, a lot of praise for Ethan Nwaneri, who looks like he's going to fit in. And then, of course, the one thing that really stood out for me, apart from the fact that, what are these games for? Like, what are we doing here? Who cares? No one seems to really care. I thought Fabio Vieira took his goal really well. Lovely left-footed volley. I thought Eddie Nketiah, got loads of praise from the commentary team on Arsenal TV. Apart from sort of winning free kicks, I didn't really see him do anything. Ditto, Charles Sego Jr. doesn't seem like the answer either. And he's young, give him a chance to develop. But he had a loan spell at Swansea where they only used him twice. So possibly not the next Thierry Henry or Ian Wright. Just saying. And Chido Obi Martin, who the whole world seems to want, is absolutely all right for us, the adults in the room, to fall out with him and tell him, right, you've got to go. If you don't want to be here, you've got to go. Like, we can't get a deal across the line for a boy whose representatives are negotiating really strongly because he's wanted by Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and apparently teams like Real Madrid as well. We've let him go because he didn't want to be here, and we've spent the rest of our time chasing other players who don't seem to want to be here. And then the one thing that was really obvious in that game, watching it, was like everyone got some minutes except two of the goalkeepers. Our only signings so far this summer have been goalkeepers, and Emile Smith Rowe. And you didn't have to be a sleuth to kind of be scratching your head and going, where's Emile? Why isn't he playing? Now, you've noticed already, I'm sure, in the short few minutes that you've been watching this. And by the way, click like and subscribe. Do me a favour, cheer me up, right? Click like and subscribe if you love Emile Smith Rowe. That's what I'm saying. Because for all of the people saying, oh, well, Emile's not quite fitting into... Emile Smith Rowe is not getting minutes, and then after the game, Arteta's like, oh, well, there's stuff going on in the background, we didn't want to risk him. We're so desperate to sell this guy, we won't let him play one final game for us. What has Emile Smith Rowe done? Did he nick Arteta's car or something? Because I cannot figure this out for the life of me. When Arteta was on his last weeks in charge, let's be clear, before that Boxing Day match against Chelsea, his overplaying Willian and not being able to see that it wasn't working for ages led to a rut of games where no one went into the Chelsea game with any confidence. And then he had some changes forced on him. We saw Saka, Martinelli and Smith Rowe come in and transform the club. Start to bridge that connection between the fans who at last started seeing some passion in our team. Players playing with purpose and pride. Of course these players are playing with pride. Saka's been at the club since he was 8 and Emile Smith Rowe's been at the club since 10. And, he didn't go off over-negotiating when we wanted to offer him scholarship terms. He took every loan deal going. At the start of last season, he'd suffered a lot the season before, not being picked because of injuries. Got that. But he went away with the England under-21s and played the European Championship tournament. played really well, was one of the standout players, and had bulked up and turned up for training early just to win his place. This season, the last few games we'll have seen him play. In the game where he came on against Luton, he played really well. He was man of the match. He could come on and have a man of the match performance and then bench him. He's one of the few players at Arsenal. Look, you're football fans, I'm a football fan. There is obviously data and science to things, and you look at someone's rates, and you could play this like a game of Football Manager. We can turn up to a match and watch a player. And Emile Smith Rowe is one of those players, when I turned up and watched, he just excited me. It's just how I like to see football played. Same with Magic Man, Paul Merson. There's just something about the creativity, the spark, the doing something a little bit different. And if there's one thing that our team could do with a little bit more of, is that somebody doing something a little bit different. I don't know if it's because Arteta likes players to do exactly what they're told at all times, from the sort of Pep Guardiola school. I don't know if that's fair. The Louis van Gaal kind of tactical approach, the teamwork is everything and you have to be in the right place at one time. Pep Guardiola, Mikel Arteta, maybe one of them. I don't know. What I know, though, is that I love watching Emile Smith Rowe. I feel like he's one of our own. And now Fulham are getting him for 35 million quid. And I think it's a bargain. There's a reason why they're breaking their transfer record to sign him. And as an aside, for a club our size, for this to potentially be our record sale is a little embarrassing, isn't it? Let's get on with it. There are players we could have... Anyway, Emile Smith Rowe looks set to go to Fulham. And this is not about trying to understand it. This is just about me going... I was holding on to the slimmest slither of hope when he came on and played that behind closed doors I was holding on to the merest slither of hope when he played that pre-season friendly against Leyton Orient, because on he came within minutes, scoring a goal, but he also had the captain's armband. Emile Smith Rowe is a player who seems to have done everything he can to be part of Arsenal, and we're letting him go at 23. And I don't know football like Arteta. I don't claim to. I'm not here to slate him or to have a go at him, because actually I take the rough with the smooth. And the smooth has been that he has brought cohesion to the team. He has brought a style of play that makes us challengers. But this transfer season is becoming really frustrating because, look, honestly, you're letting Emile Smith Rowe, Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson go, possibly Aaron Ramsdale, and replacing them. That's a lot to do in one transfer window. Was it necessary? Is that the big change we need? Most of the players are leaving. Didn't get that many minutes anyway. You could have tried them this season with a few minutes. What we need this season... And look, I'd love to see Moreno come in. Moreno, you tell me. I don't really know. I've heard it said both ways. I'm going to stick with Moreno because it sounds logical. But I think he's a great player. I know a little bit about him, and well done to those of you on the comments who mentioned him. Big shout out to Digi Scott, and I think it was Zanzibarian as well, who mentioned Moreno before anyone else was really talking about him. I think he's a really good midfielder for us. He's the right age profile for me. But is he the transformative player that's going to take us that next step, that extra 2 points to beat Pep Guardiola? And I don't know. Maybe Pep Guardiola's Man City will fall away a little bit and we'll stay where we were and we'll overtake them. But otherwise, we need to make that step. And I keep remembering back to 1992 when Manchester United failed to win the then First Division. They had a great team, but they just couldn't get over the line. They lacked that belief in the vital moment. They lacked that talisman. So what did Alex Ferguson go out and do? He didn't go and sell 4 of the young players and replace them with slightly better players. He went and got Eric Cantona. Eric Cantona was the difference. I mean, Eric Cantona is nothing if not a difference maker. And it's the same when Jurgen Klopp looked at his team. He went out and got Virgil van Dijk. We need... And maybe that was the intention with Declan Rice. And maybe it will still happen. But for us, I think we need a little bit of a creative spark. And part of this video is me reaching out to you saying there's got to be a difference maker. Instead of buying 7 new players to replace 7 outgoing players, Jakob Kivior going out to be replaced by Ricardo Calafiori, of course it seems like good business. Of course it seems like a good idea. And I am excited about Ricardo Calafiori, even though if that's been dampened a little bit by hearing about him every single day and hearing about he might do a medical in Los Angeles, he might do a medical at Boreham Wood. I don't care anymore. Don't talk about him till he's holding the shirt. Should we just say that, right? But what I do want to see is, who is it that we go out and get that is like a Kevin De Bruyne? That is like a Cantona? That is the difference? The one big difference maker that the successful teams all have? For me, I think the closest we're looking at the moment, that we're linked with anyway, is Victor Osimhen. I still think it could be Joshua Kimmich because he brings with him that kind of experience of a winning mentality. And I think our team did get a lift when we brought in Zinchenko and Gabi Jesus on the same basis, to give the team that belief that these are people who've won, we can do this. Maybe the hurt from last 2 seasons is enough. I mean, some of our players are also bringing the final hurt from Euro 96, are bringing the final hurt from the Euros. Maybe that's the fuel they need. But a difference maker, who is it? Let's stop this policy of trying to get anyone who's around at a value. If we can sell Eddie, then maybe we can sign Gyökeres. Maybe Gyökeres is the guy that you think is the difference maker. Maybe it's Ivan Toney. I don't know, right? At the moment, I'm sick of the transfer window. I'm sick of gossiping. Gossiping like school children. Oh, Isaac's license plate was seen in London. He was... No, I'm not doing that. And I'm not going to do it with you either, right? You are far better. You are a community of football fans that don't like the histrionics and don't want all of the... But, and I realise this has been a bit of a rant. I'm talking about how I feel, though. I feel like Emile Smith Rowe didn't make sense to me. And there hasn't been enough work done to explain it. And I think Arteta could come out and do that just for decency's sake. I don't want to wait 10 years till somebody writes an autobiography. I want to know now. Yeah, it's really bothered me. I think it's bothered a lot of you as well. Emile Smith Rowe, man, if you're watching this, have an amazing career. Have an amazing career. You are a player that I really enjoyed watching the few times I got to watch you. And I honestly believe that without you, we would be in a much worse position right now. And you may not have gotten the chance you deserve to prove that you're Arsenal through and through. Football's weird. Maybe you get a chance to come back. But whatever you do, unlike a lot of players, like Chido Obermartin, I'll be honest with you, I've seen a lot of people wishing him well. I think I did it. I don't really wish him well. I hope he flops terribly. I hope we don't regret another Serge Gnabry. But that seems a bit of a bastard thing to do. I'm just being honest. I'm being totally honest. With Emile Smith Rowe, though, no, listen, I hope you go on and win the FA Cup with Fulham, or possibly the Europa League, or something special. I hope you get snapped up by a massive club. I hope you have a great career. And I hope you always feel like I will always feel about you, like you're Arsenal. And no, sod all that. Actually, what I really hope is I hope Fulham pull out the last minute, or that you won't go and then we end up having to keep you, and that you get a chance and you score a hat-trick and he can't drop you, even though you seem to have shagged his missus or something. Emile Smith Rowe, Arsenal forever. And as for the rest of you, let me know if I've just lost my mind. If the football fatigue of watching England play soporific football, if the endless speculation about the same players is driving me mad on the Transfer Daily news show, if there's nothing really positive at the moment coming out of Arsenal as we go into what is a massive season for us, if all of that has just caused me to break down, then, fine, so be it. Let me know how you feel. Calm me down. There's so many of you on here that talk so much sense. Calm me down. Until that happens, I'm going to go and rage. I'm going to go and shout at stuff for a bit. All right? Until I see you again, be lucky and lots of love.